All right, so one of the other things, one of the kind of the root causes, or one of the founding blocks of us actually having this orientation was Jason had brought up that it would be awesome if we could get everybody together and do some skits and reenact some of the experiences that we've had as instructors and give you guys the example, kind of like the Three Stooges. Because we've had all kinds. We've been here for 5 years. I don't know how many students we've seen come through the program, quite a bit. And during that time, we've had some pretty interesting experiences, and we're just going to kind of go over a couple of them with you. Starting with Jason.
Okay, give me some slack, all right? I'm not a thespian. If you know what that is. It's like the man on the street. You ready?
We're ready.
This should be good. Hello? Yeah, what are you doing calling me at, What are you doing calling me at 9:30 at night on a Sunday? Are you okay? Do we need to bail you out? Okay, so you're at the bar on Friday. You met a woman. Okay. You're in Montana. Were you abducted by aliens? So you met a woman, and 5 hours after you met her, a limo showed up at your house, and you woke up in the morning in Montana after flying on a private jet. Okay. Well, sorry, the first day of the quarter is tomorrow, and that's not a valid excuse. I'm sorry. 3% deduction starting tomorrow.
That really happened. So, yeah, we get to experience a lot in labs. I have had students, I started by saying, hey, here's my cell phone number, just let me know an hour in advance if you're not going to be here. I had one particular student start texting me every day. One of the texts that I read said, hey, I'm in Milton Freewater. Is it raining in Walla Walla? I'm trying to decide if I should bring my raincoat. That was a real text. I've had students that, oh, here's a perfect one in lab. Maybe when a good time to ask a question is, I had a particular student standing in his lab apartment, and I could hear just bang, 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 just beating the hell out of the subpanel. And I walk up to him, I said, what are you doing? And I'm trying really hard not to use names. What are you doing? I don't know, man. Like, I got in the lab and I looked over and he was knocking a hole out of his panel, and I was like, so I just started knocking holes until somebody got a little farther, man, and I was just gonna see what they were doing. Which tells me that not only did he not listen to the lecture, he didn't read the lab sheet. And for the first time in his life, he didn't open his mouth when he should have. So, things to make you maybe a little bit more productive here are asking questions when it's a good time to ask questions. They say there are no stupid questions, and I don't know who they are, but texting me questioning if you should wear a raincoat that day is a stupid question. So, anyway, I'll pass the mic.
So some of the other things that we face as instructors, when we get together, we have a class, for the most part, we have an agenda of what we want to accomplish that day. We prepare before, we get everything ready, we roll into that class, we have a specific agenda, and we're just trying to deliver whatever it was that we had planned to deliver that day. And a few things for me, if I was gonna say I have pet peeves with students, it's disruptiveness, students in the back talking. You guys have probably all experienced this, is when you're trying to get something across to somebody and somebody interrupts you, or somebody's causing disruption by, in the back of the class, chit-chatting or laughing, things like that. That throws off the whole energy of the, especially for me, maybe not for these guys, but if I'm in a class and I'm trying to get some work done, and I have one guy in the back, and he irritates me extremely because he's talking or disrupting, then my energy changes, and now I'm mad, and now I'm changing the lecture, and that might change the outcomes for everybody else. So just be respectful in that manner when you're in the classroom, when you have somebody up here, maybe it's industry. We've had this when industry has been up in front of the classroom trying to deliver, and somebody was talking. It's rude, it's disrespectful, and it doesn't look professional. It doesn't look like you really care about what you're doing here. So that's one of the things. And on a positive note, I do want to say we do have great students. We do have students that go above and beyond. We've had students, and I'm going to read a letter of recommendation that Brian and I had written for a really exceptional student. I'll just share his story. There's a student, I could share his name. Yeah. So I'll read that here in a second. But this guy, David Stadnick, he was a stellar student. He came to us, some of you guys know him. If you haven't, if you don't know him, you've probably heard his name. It's because he was such a super stud in the program. He's one of our very first guys. The program was young. We were moving forward. We're trying to build the program and grow the program. And this is the kind of guy he never missed any work. He never missed any days. He was never late. He was an exceptional student as far as attendance goes. He showed up every day. He was hungry to learn. He asked appropriate questions. He problem solved for himself. If he had a question, the first place he would look is his syllabus, because we've put in a lot of energy and a lot of effort into building a syllabus that's as inclusive as possible to make you successful. So one thing he did well was the first time he had a question, he would go to his syllabus. The second thing he would do is go to his Canvas shell, and he would do some of his own investigation to his problems, to do his own problem solving, and ultimately it affected us positively because we didn't have to answer all of his questions. And this is something these guys have heard me say. I was in management leadership in the wind industry. I grew up with some really hard journeymen, some journeymen who treated me like an apprentice that I was, and I went through some hard knocks. So as I grew up, I became the boss, I became the leader, and I started seeing areas that needed improvement. And one of them was I've had employees upstairs climbing wind turbines, doing this, doing that, and very similar. They would call me and say, hey, should I wear a raincoat today? Is it raining? And if I've got to solve all of your problems, if I'm your boss and you're coming to me with very minor things and I've given you a piece of paper and I've given you a website that should answer the majority of your questions and you're still calling with those minor questions, I'm going to look at you and say, if I've got to answer all these questions or if I've got to do all this work for you, why am I paying you? What do I need you for if I've got to do all of it? So one thing that David Stadnick did well was he was responsible for his own learning outcomes, and he was very engaged and very, very dedicated to this program. David Stadnick didn't have to find work. There was a phone call. I received the call. They said, who's your top student? We're paying, at that time it was $22 an hour for the top student. I said, I got this guy. He wants to stay pretty local. His name is David Stadnick. I think you should take a look at him. So I sent him up there. I called Dave. I said, hey, can you go in for an interview tomorrow? They want to schedule. I was the middleman there. Got that arranged. He got that job. He was working there about 1 year. Brian got a phone call. And his phone call was from Boise Cascade. And that phone call said, hey, who's your top student? Who's the best guy? And Brian's dad worked at Boise Cascade, and we talked earlier about our philosophy is finding the right fit, placing the student to become the most successful in the fit. We looked at our group at that moment, and we didn't have somebody at the level that Boise Cascade was expecting. So what we did was called David Stadnick and said, hey, would you prefer to jump ship for, what was it, $4 more an hour, $27 an hour? It'd be about the same drive. Instead of driving to Dayton, you're driving to Wallula Junction, work for Boise Cascade. Benefits, everything equal to what you're doing, maybe even a little better. He said, hell yes, I want to do that. Turned around and he went there and he got that job. Within 6 months, he got his journeyman. They have tiers. He made it to journeyman. At journeyman level, how much? 33? $34 an hour and change, 1.5 years to 2 years after he left the program. Very successful candidate. And I remember, and when I look, there's a lot of students that have done a lot of good things. He's the one that stands out the most. When you guys are in your 131 class and you're looking at your meter training boards, where the boards where we're teaching you how to use your meter, those removable magnetic backgrounds that are on there that give you the work instruction for how your meter works, he did that. We didn't ask him to do that. He came to us and said, hey, I know you guys are trying to do something, and there's something I have time, I have energy, I can help you out. And he said, I did this for you. What do you guys think? We said, yeah, thank you very much. That's great. So there's a lot of examples that that guy did that I hope every single one of you guys do. It will help you be successful. Perception is everything. And I talked about this to my employees when I was at Vestas. I've talked about this to my students here. But be the guy. Let your boss catch you working. If you're walking by and the garbage can is full and you're on your way out to smoke anyways, grab the garbage and take it with you. If you walk by and there's a mess on the floor, there's a zip tie on the floor, there's a wire nut, don't just walk by. Every time I walk from my car to the office, if I see a piece of garbage, I pick it up. It's not my job. Somebody else left it there, but I have pride in what I do. I have pride in this program, and I don't want my industry to walk by and go, oh, there's garbage right there. Nobody cared enough to pick it up. So just let your boss catch you working. It will make their perception of you better, and it will give you an edge, a shortcut, a little bit of extra success in your career. But let me just read this really quick. So to whom it may concern, I'm writing this letter on behalf of David Stadnick, one of my students enrolled in Energy System Technology at Walla Walla Community College. Over the past year, Mr. Stadnick has impressed me not only with his attitude, but his work ethic as well. He has proven to be a quick learner, easily grasping and utilizing the various complex skills that have been discussed. His personal performance exceeds expectations, along with his willingness to help his fellow classmates grasp the information. Though Mr. Stadnick is one of my top students scholastically, the guy never got anything less than an A. He had a 4.0 the whole time he was here. He also is one of the hardest working. He routinely arrives early to class, offering assistance to myself and fellow instructors. He's prepared and eager and an active participant in each of my classes and goes above and beyond what is asked of him within and without of the classroom. Like I said, on his own time, he went and built those work instructions for us. I highly recommend this guy, David Stadnick, as a candidate for employment. I feel his natural aptitude and diligent work ethic would be an asset to any position he applies for. As an instructor, he has literally been a perfect student, and I am positive he will bring this caliber of attitude and performance to all of his working endeavors. If you have any further questions, let me know. If somebody wrote that about me, I'd feel pretty good about myself. And I hope someday that somebody on this panel will be able to write a letter similar to that about you, because I think that means a lot coming from somebody who he knew things, mechanical, electrical things a little bit. He had the right attitude. We were able to shape him, help mold his life, his future. He's a very successful person in this world today. We have a little tiny bit of part of that. The larger part of how he's successful is because of his attitude, because of his work ethic. And that's all I have to say about that. We've got just a little bit more here. Gwen and Mike are going to talk about labor and industries and go through the rest of this list.
Okay, so Department of Labor and Industry, State of Washington. If you're going to be working in the state of Washington on electrical, you are required to have either be a trainee card, electrical trainee card with the state, or be a journeyman. The application depends on how long or what field of endeavor as to how many hours you need to be able to take your journeyman test. Both the electrical training program here at Walla Walla Community College and the HVACR program are certified programs by the state of Washington for electrical trainee hours, provided that you get a degree. If you get a certificate program in electrical or HVACR, you don't get any hours toward that. Okay? You're required by the state of Washington to have applied for your electrical training card within the first 2 weeks of the quarter that you begin, whether it's, in this case, fall quarter. And that's included in the packet, the procedure for doing that. Oh, okay. So. Okay, the card, so when you get electrical training card, it's good for 2 years. Okay? Now, some of you are in the training program a little longer than that because of where you started. Walla Walla Community College in these programs has the authority to give you an additional certificate that will allow you an additional 2 years. Okay? We only get one shot at that, so basically you get the card for 4 years, training card. Once you get done in our industry, if you're going, our electrical training program's in 07, which is non-electrical, non-residential maintenance. So that's basically we're talking about industrial electrical. The HVAC program is a limited energy 06A, and they each have a certain number of hours. Our program's a little over 1,400 hours towards your 4,000. Once you have 4,000 hours, then you can test. 4,000 to test in any of the specialties, okay? If you're gonna go to work for an 01 contractor, which Brian's an 01, I'm an 06A, journeyman. So we still maintain our licenses, okay? If you're going to go for that, if you go to work for an 01 contractor, you will have to do 8,000 hours. Okay.
And doesn't it 4,000 residential and 4,000 commercial? Is that how it is too in electrical?
No, I think it's 4,000 residential, 2,000 commercial, and 2,000 industrial.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the breakout, and that's available on the webpage.
That's to be eligible to take the test.
To take the journeyman test through the state of Washington's LNI.
Taking the test and passing the test are two different things.
Uh-huh.
So it usually takes, it takes 2 or 3 times. There's a WAC and RCW portion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Repeat the question.
Who does Washington reciprocate with as far as getting your license, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, things like that?
This is a perfect example of go online and look it up.
Because it changes. Okay.
I don't have that memorized. I believe Idaho is one.
Yes.
I know Oregon isn't. There was a falling out there. But if you go online to lni.wa.gov, I believe, which they're on the website of, you can start to peruse all of that and get a lot of those questions answered.
Can we show them real quick, Mike, where to go?
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
James, can you hit on apply to become an electrical trainee? So you can go on the website to apply. It does cost $40 to do this. And then also we put it in the packet, the handwritten packet. If you need to mail it in, you can do that. But it's probably going to be easier for you to actually go online and do that and apply for it here and get it done that way. And then you need to carry that card with you.
It's also less money.
It's less money. Didn't know that. Thanks, Mike. So HVAC and electrical.
No. Yeah, yeah. If you're going to work in electrical, again, so if you're maybe doing plant operations, okay, and your job doesn't require it, then you wouldn't have to. It is optional, but if you're doing a dual degree, if you're doing plant ops and electrical or HVAC and electrical, then yeah, you're going to want to do that. We got another question.
There's one license is all you need.
Right.
Yep.
The electrical training card covers all of it.
So when you get done with your program, you'll come to me for an exit interview. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But also at that time, that's when I will put your name in and I will send your information to the state saying, you know, Joe Schmo completed the HVAC program. Please give him HVAC get 1,400 and electrical gets 1,270 hours towards their journeyman hours.
Okay, and this two steps are really important here is when you apply for your card, you're going to get your card. You need to bring it in to Gwen to have her make a copy of it and to put the dates down, okay? Because we track that, and once the expiration date comes near, we're going to do a certificate for you to get a 2-year extension for that, okay? Then you can renew it. The renewal's on you, though.
You need to make sure that I have a copy of that. So please come see me so I can get a copy of that and put it in your file.
And just one more thing, you probably all should just get it now, because you might decide the electrical degree is the core of all of energy systems, and you might just want to have that in your back pocket to get those hours accounted for, because you, like Brian said, you don't know where your career is going to take you, and in a few years down the road you renew, or if you keep your electrical training card up to date, you go to work for an employer who's reporting hours, you show them your card, they start reporting your hours, and eventually you are eligible to test for that journeyman card.
With everything you guys are spending on school, from tools to work boots to tuition to books, this is less than $40 bit of insurance for you. Why not?
And so you guys, if I'm going to say this, and I don't want everybody to come to me, but if you guys, you know, you've tried all your resources, you've done everything, and I'm going to hassle you and figure out, have you tried this, have you done this, and done this, and then I will try and find you some resources. But that's, I want to be your last option. Not to say I won't help you, I just want to be your last option, so remember that, okay?
She's referring to monetarily.
Yeah. Shut up.
Okay,
Did you have a question back there? I think it would be a good idea. Gwen wasn't employed as our recruiter last year at that time, and so we're restructuring some of the way we do things in an attempt to be more efficient. So it would be nice if she was a contact point with all that.
you're good on industry exams, or you could go into that?
Yeah. So industry exams, the HVACR training program is a nationally accredited program. We're doing a reaccreditation at this point for the next grouping. So that being said, we are required in our accreditation process nationally to do national certification exams for our students. So the HVACR program will test for a number of different industry certifications in electrical, air conditioning. You have to get your EPA certification, gas heat, electric heat, heat pumps, and light commercial refrigeration. So those all have fees to test with too, but that also works through our student club, which our president will address. I think that's all I got on that.
So before we do tools, I just want to interject. The plant operations guys know about this already, but every winter we do a wastewater course. And much like many of the careers that you guys are looking at, the industry is facing what's called the silver tsunami, where in the next 5 years they expect to lose 30 to 50% of their workforce to retirement. Having said that, you look at the average age of the Walla Walla wastewater treatment plant, it's 58 years old, and that's just here. Every place where there's population density, there's a wastewater treatment plant. Now in the state of Washington, the Department of Ecology has a wastewater treatment plant operator certification program, and it has an exam. And when you take our class in the winter, in the spring we usually host that third-party exam. And if you pass it, which doesn't always happen the first time, as Mike alluded to, once you do pass it, you get what's called an operator in training certificate, which then makes you very employable with wastewater treatment plants throughout the state. So if you want to learn more about that, let me know. The class is open to all EST students, and it's 3 credits. Thanks.
So the two requirements for wind energy are just whatever is listed on the syllabus for the EST 132. The rest of the programs and the reason for that is in the wind industry, 99% of the time they don't allow you to bring your own tools to site. They have specific requirements for insulated tools and other things. They supply you with those tools. The electrical program in your packets has a tool list. The HVAC program has a list of your tools, and the plant operations is all listed in there. If that's your degree track, take a look at the tool requirements, start the process of acquiring those tools.
Jason? So we're going to talk a little bit about the career portfolio.
duet?
We're going to duet. We're going to sing. We're going to do the can-can. So Jason teaches EST 109, which is it's a job seeking skills class essentially, but he's going to talk a little bit about that in the career portfolio and what you're going to build and put in that, and then what needs to come to me. So take it away.
Okay. So every quarter we offer EST 109. How many of you have taken it already? Okay. How many of you had a job this summer? Was 109 helpful at all? Okay. So what we cover in the class, first day of the course, we have you bring your resume as is. Just as is. I don't want you to do any work on it. We just want you to bring it in so we can take a look at it. And over the course of the quarter, what we do is we update it in different iterations 4, 5, 6 times. Okay? We also go over what is the purpose or the role of a resume in the application process. And along with that, what is an interview really all about? What do you need to do to prepare for it? And so we have several items that we have you work on during the course of the quarter to get you into position to be able to not only apply for a job, but do well at the interview and then land the job as well. And along the way, we bring in alumni from the various programs to speak about their experience in getting and applying for and securing work. And we also bring in industry representatives. Some of them are plant managers, some of them are from HR. And they talk about what their expectations are, what they're looking for, what you need to do to be successful in your application process for their particular company. So that's what EST 109 is all about. Getting you prepared to get that job or get that internship and then a job while you're here.
And Jason will make sure to go over the do's and don'ts of job seeking and what to do when you're looking for work and all of that stuff. It's a great class. and I hope you all pay attention because it makes my job a lot easier if you guys pay attention and do what you're supposed to do. So I'm going to talk to you about the exit interview. So every student who is getting ready to graduate will need to come see me. At the end of, if it's this quarter, next quarter, or in a year, you know, at the end of their last quarter, they need to make sure that they see me. I will be doing an exit interview with you. At that time, we'll do a degree audit to make sure it's where I make sure you have all the classes that you need. And then I will be turning that into the registrar's office along with your application for graduation. In the portfolio, Jason just went over, we want you to make sure you have your resume, cover letter, copy of your transcript, which can be unofficial at the time, copy of coursework, description, overview, your content may include some pictures of your work, anything like that. So make sure as you're going along in the program, if you know you did something awesome and you're just a rock star at it, make sure to take a picture of it. Or, you know, if you wrote a paper and you did well on it, make sure to keep that because we can attach that sometimes to applications and things. I'm also going to need copies of your licenses, certificates. So like some of you will get HVAC excellence certificates. I'm going to need copies of those so we can attach to your portfolio and I can upload it in case you apply for a position. I can send it to you. Again, we talked about this. I need your industry certifications along with your electrical training card. And then here's where it gets fun. Once you graduate, I will be following you along for 3 months. So at 3 months and 6 months, I will be finding, you know, I will find out where you're working. Just kidding. I really will, though. I have my ways. So please, just so I don't have to be a stage 5 stalker, please just make sure to call me or text me and let me know, hey, Gwen, I'm working at Wallula and I'm making $15 an hour and I started 2 weeks ago. Easy. That's all I want from you. You don't have to talk to me about anything else. That's it. And then I want all of you. Who has a LinkedIn profile? Okay. In your packet, there is a thing that has just LinkedIn in it. I want all of you within the next week or two to go in and create a LinkedIn profile and find me and friend me, or I don't know if you call it friending. Link to me, link me.
You know what LinkedIn is?
LinkedIn, okay. So hang on, you're old? Who said they're old? Really? I'm older than you are and I know what it is, come on. No, that's true. Brandy, do you have that paper in your packet, the LinkedIn paper? So LinkedIn is a networking site for professionals looking for employment or wanting to connect with people. So here's the definition. LinkedIn is the largest professional networking site available today. LinkedIn provides a way to connect with other professionals and helps you stay in contact with millions of users using a professional platform to keep in touch. LinkedIn is strictly used for exchanging knowledge, ideas, opportunities, and has increasingly become a leader in individuals find groups of interest as well as their job field. So please go to LinkedIn and create your profile. Make certain that you're maintaining a professional profile, keeping it up to date, and do not omit any information that may be pertinent to your future job search endeavors. So it's on here. So guys, I've worked for colleges and I had one, make sure your email address is appropriate. I'm sure Jason will go over this in EST 109, but if you have an inappropriate email address, you need to change it now. Like I had one girl and she was a breast cancer survivor and it was awesome that she was, but her email address was warinmyrack@yahoo.com. And she was offended. She was offended that I told her to change it. And I'm just like, well, first of all, it shows that maybe an employer might think, oh man, she's gonna get sick again. I don't want to hire her. And then also, you don't want to talk about any kind of business or anything like that. So please just make sure it's appropriate. Change it now, or make another one. And then your picture, it just needs to be something, just a picture of your face. You don't need to be wearing. I don't even want to go into what you shouldn't be wearing. Make sure it's professional. Okay. You all should know. Take a picture with your shirt on. Take a selfie with your EST shirt on, whatever you got to do. But make sure you get that done within the next 2 weeks. I will be going and looking, and if it's not done, I'll be letting you know that you need to get it done. And you might have to come sit with me until you get it done.
And this is, the thing with LinkedIn is it's a great resource. It's folks that you have worked with in your past, they might have one, you connect with them. They hear of job offerings. There's constantly recruiters on LinkedIn out there, looking around for people who have in their title, their employment title, actively seeking new employment. Headhunters will be talking to you. People in whatever related interest you have will be looking for you guys, because eventually, I mean, now currently we're recognized, but it will continue to grow, it will continue to add, and it's a way that you can stay in contact also with all of your classmates as well.
At the end of your program, we also will have a brief survey that I'll give you a link to, and I want you to go on to complete it. We want to know how we're doing. We want our instructors to know if, like Brian, if he's doing crummy, we want to know he's doing crummy. And we want you guys to tell us all the horrible, awful things about Brian so that we can fix him. Yeah. So just remember that at the end of the your program, I will be having you do that. And then inside your packet, and I know we're going to be doing that here in a minute, there's some paperwork called WISE Grant paperwork. And I'm going to need that completed for my demographics and to keep track of you also. But we will get to that here in a minute, but just know that that paperwork's in there.
Okay, and the last one on this slide, I'll make it really quick. I've said it several times before, you guys have heard it, but you're responsible for your own success. Here's another quote by Nikola Tesla. Let the future tell the truth and evaluate each one according to his work and accomplishments. So if you work for your future, you will have accomplishments. The present is theirs. The future for which I have really worked is mine. So you have to work for your future. If you want success, if you want to have a good paying job, if you want to be successful in life in general, you have to work for it, unless your parents are really rich, like Bill Gates' kids and stuff like that. But you probably wouldn't be here if that were the case. So just take on your learning as your responsibility. Put your heart into it. I promise you it will pay you dividends in the end. And let's keep going. Internships and co-ops. So some of you guys have heard this a little bit. Cooperative experience internships. During the summer, it's actually available at during any quarter, is you can do on-the-job work experience. You pay for the credits. Those credits are required as part of your degree, all of the degrees in energy systems. It's your responsibility to go out and hustle up and get a job that's going to give you that experience in this related field. But we have a lot of employers who love to call us for summer help. Boise Cascade, NextEra Energy, Energy Northwest. The list goes on, City of Kennewick. These folks want you guys to come and work for them. So the way to be eligible for that is to be the successful student, to be at the top of your class. It's going to save you some time as far as hustling up and getting those credit hours if you're at the top of your class, if you're doing all that work.
And you can be creative too when you're trying to find your site. I'm going to use Nathan Bartlow here for a second. He got to go to the big city of Antelope, Oregon this summer. It was huge. Brian and I got to go, huh, Brian? It was very exciting. But Nathan, raise your hand, Nathan. Nathan got to, how many acres is it? What was it, 6? How many acres is it, Nathan? Huh? 64,000 acre summer youth camp. But it used to be years and years ago, the Rosnishi's camp compound out in the middle of the Tules, and it was awesome. Nathan got to do so many cool things and he just worked in all over that place. Wasn't it a good experience, Nathan? And he learned a lot, and we got to go visit it, and there's just lots of things you can do, so don't just keep yourself in a little box. Think outside the box when you're trying to find your co-ops. Be creative, because there's lots of opportunities out there.
On that note, I have one student who, I won't name names unless he raises his hand, but he was a student that was kind of on the fence all in his first year. And even though he started in the fall quarter and made it through spring, I wasn't so sure he was going to do a co-op, which is usually the course of action in between your first year and second year. Well, turns out, not only was he an intern this summer, but he was head of internal affairs, reporting right to the owner of the company. At least that's what he told his coworkers. At the end of the day, he even had business cards made up. Point being, not only did the guy, not only was he appreciated by his coworkers so that he could have the space to make that kind of joke, and they actually believed him at first, but he really impressed his bosses, and he did an excellent job, and I got a chance to visit him and his supervisors this summer. And now he's back, and hopefully he's going to continue on his path and be a harder worker and role model for all of you that are just starting out the program. So co-op is very critical. Can't say enough about it. It's a test drive. Yeah. It's a test drive. You get to learn whether you want to really have a career in the industry that you're focused on, and it's a opportunity for the employer to see if you're really somebody they want to bring on board. So thanks to all of you that represented well this summer, and look forward to hearing about what your experiences were like.
At this time, we'd like the club presidents to come up here. We're going to give them an opportunity to talk to you guys about the clubs, the student body clubs, kind of some of their offerings, what they do, and they will talk to you about the T-shirt Wednesday, because we do allow you guys to have some liberties with the dress code.
My name is Matthew Uminski, president of the HVAC club. This will be my second year. As, WET Club, the Wind Energy Technology, HVAC, we came up with our shirt last quarter. Decided we wanted to do club shirts like them, so we wouldn't have to wear the same shirt every single day. So we did that. We now have our shirt we wear Wednesdays. We do our community service. So 1 week, there's project week in your spring quarter. You go out and do projects with your instructors and everything. We go to the VA hospital and do maintenance and stuff there for them. We also do a highway cleanup. I think it's once every quarter. Once a quarter, we'll go clean up 2 miles of the highway, and we have a sign up there for the HVAC club saying that we clean the highway. Trying to think. Oh yeah, we fix like refrigerators and stuff, or simple appliances that come to the shop. People want them fixed, so we'll fix those. If we can, they supply the parts, and we'll do that. So we get our hands on it, learn that, and everything there. That's about it. Monthly meetings and a barbecue every meeting. Blue shirts only. It's upstairs in the J building, room 213? Building F, 213. It's upstairs up by Hodak's office. 1213, sorry.
And we'll be taking a tour of that area later, so we'll make sure we point that out.
No, you need the mic to record it.
Okay, well, my name's Destiny Arms, and I'm the president of the WET Club. It stands for Wind Energy Technologies, just to clarify that one. We have black shirts that match his hat. In order to get a shirt, you have to be there for at least 4 meetings. We do the recycling of the bags on campus and some other community projects. Last quarter, we helped with the conduit bending, the recycling of that. We meet in the J building upstairs. And we usually have a meeting, we try to every 2 weeks. And we are looking for new members because we need to select new, I guess, president, secretary, all that. So if you guys would like to join, see me, I can tell you when our meeting's going to be through email, text, or whatever.
My name's Wayne Dean, and I'm the president of the Legit Club for plant operations sides of things. We're fairly new, so we don't have a shirt to wear. We try to meet once a week. We're in the same place as the HVAC guys. So where we meet at Building F, 1214. I'll bring something because I don't even really know what it means. I'll let Ralph do it.
All right. My name is Ralph Schottenholz. I'm second-year student plant operations. We kind of scraped up this plant operations club as a result of some other guys that are now graduated. And the name, I think it came from the guy that's in Montana. But good for him. I'm hoping he's enjoying his new life with whoever. But anyways, so LEGIT stands for Leading Edge Green Integrated Technologies. Well, that's a lot. But at first, I really didn't like the name, and it's still kind of a mouthful, but it sticks. It's stuck now. It's working pretty good, legit. So if you think about what plant operations does, and I mean, I like the HVAC guys and the electrical guys and you know, the wind energy guys. All these skills are they have a lot of commonness to them. And then there's some very specific breakouts of each one of those skills. But all of us fix things, make things happen, do something in production, and that particular name reflects what really plant operations is. So for example, you guys probably don't even know what a traveling wave nuclear reactor is. That's probably the latest and the greatest form of energy that's coming in the next 10 years. It's happening over in Seattle. That's just one thing you can do as a plant operator. I work for Pacific Ethanol, incidentally, as a result of my internship, as a result of being in the plant operations program. So I am actually an operator there now. So I do the stuff that we were doing on Amatrol. I don't have the little Skyrim hand. I just have a little mouse, but I run about 5 different screens on my half of the plant. So that's another area. So we got the traveling wave nuclear reactor. We've got plant operations making ethanol to the tune of about 10,000 gallons or better an hour, all right? We've got Penford Foods that's going to be a cogen, which means they're going to use potato products to generate energy while they're doing their primary stuff, which is food products. Then we've got wastewater, which incidentally, as a result of being in plant operations again, and all these fine teachers teaching me, I ended up with a few other guys getting my operator and training certificate for the state of Washington. So not only do I have the opportunity at Pacific Ethanol, I can also be a wastewater treatment operator, at least for the next 18 months. That's how long the certificate is good for. So if you think about the education you're getting here, and some of us that are on scholarship, I mean, that's like, you can't get any better than that. You don't have to pay for your own education. You just have to apply energy, effort. So that's why I like the name LEGIT. So we welcome anybody, whether you're HVAC, whether you're wind, whether you're whatever, you can come to our club. I think in the future here we're going to work together more. Oh, okay. Anyways, so we're open. We're open over here. I'm going to shut up now.
And some of you guys might recognize this. Too legit to quit.
But there's a couple we're going to be working with composting as a club, kind of generated funds, help do some of the facilities, campus, working with facilities for recycling, getting funds there, and the boiler water quality here. So, and that's all hands-on stuff based on our degree set that we're trying to do. And then we also offer tutoring for people because we like to, what was it, last year that we did a tutoring session for EST 132 and it turned out great. So, and we're going to do it again this year, and every quarter that 132 is offered because that's a pretty difficult class. So it's 132. So, and that's pretty much what the LEGIT Club is about.
Destiny has one more thing to say about today and the club's involvement.
And lunch will be provided by the Wet Club, the HVAC Club, and the LEGIT Club. Today we'll have pizza.
Yeah, you guys can clap for that. So what we're going to do right now is you guys all have your packets.
Go to your packets. Get them out.
We'll start walking around helping you guys out.
So there's a
passing around
packet.
paint.
There's a packet that says WISE on the top. There's one that says liability waiver, custom sizing form, and photo and video release. Get those forms out.
And while you guys are doing that, somebody mentioned before, it was Josh, We do have a safety word. That safety word is chimichanga.
You guys need to listen to what he's saying.
We're just
Listen.
gonna get this out there right before you guys start shuffling papers, and then lunch will be here. But when we're in the shop, we're in an environment, we're pretty blue collar. If you haven't been able to tell that, you will. But we do have a safety word. It's a code word. We say chimichanga, and chimichanga means mind your P's and Q's. If you're doing anything that's questionable, stop. Button up your shirt, tuck your shirt in, look alive.
Watch your language.
It means that, yeah, just make sure you're being,
Potential employer walking
yeah, a dean, the president. Yes.
And if it's said once, it doesn't need to be said multiple times.
Yeah, right? Okay, so get these forms completed. I want them filled out thoroughly. If they're not, I will come get you and make you fill them out again. So make sure they're thoroughly completed. And then once those have been completed, there's boxes on that back table right there. I want you to put them in each, the separate boxes. Like liability goes in one, shirt goes in one. I don't care. They will, no, I'll have them in there. Here, Brian. You can use pencil as long as I have, if anybody needs a pen, I have some.